with an introduction to adding and subtracting integers. We're going to do them both at the same time. I'm going to give you a method today that hopefully will make a lot of sense to you. But again, what I'm asking you today is just take some notes, write things down, write examples down, and I think we'll be able to figure things out. I don't think it'll be a problem. The main thing that I want you to keep in mind today is every problem that we have, we're going to essentially turn into an addition problem. And I'm going to show you what that means in a little bit. And I'm going to take you through the steps and the different representations we're going to do in order to show that. Here's an example of the different variety of problems that you would possibly see. And again, we've got a lot of positives and negatives in here. The toughest thing for middle school kids to get past is it subtraction or is it a negative? And we're going to try to take care of that today with just a few steps. By making everything an addition problem, you'll know when you see a minus that it's going to be a negative. Okay? That should help. So these are the two steps we're going to talk about. Make the problem addition and then box off. And you'll figure out what that means in a second here. So we're not really even doing the problems right now. We're just setting up to make sure we can do them. Okay. Now let's just start simple. Everybody knows that 5 plus 2 is 7. That's not a big deal. But this method works the same with even the problems that you already know. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. The problem is already addition, which is good. So that's kind of our centerpiece in the middle. And I can just circle that in the middle. That's kind of our centerpiece in the middle. Okay. It's almost like a balance. Okay. The other two numbers we want to identify if they're positive or negative. So I'm just going to put a box around them to say if they're positive or negative. There's nothing in front of this 5, so that means it's positive. Any number you see that doesn't have anything in front of it is positive. Positive 5, positive 2. That problem is set, ready to go. This problem, it starts as addition, so we're already in good shape. We don't have to do really anything to it. So now we're identifying negative 5, positive 2. This problem is already addition. Now you're going to see some of these parentheses on here, okay? These don't mean that you do anything first. They're just trying to separate the two symbols. So you might see those, you might not. So, this problem might just look like this, and it's the same thing. Okay. Since we have our centerpiece right here, we've got positive 5, and I've got negative 2. This problem, we do not have a plus sign, so we're going to put an addition sign in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a plus sign right after that first number. Okay, so this problem is now going to read, and it's going to be the same problem. It's going to be 5 plus negative 2. I'm just putting that plus right after the first number. There's my plus, positive 5, negative 2. Not even doing the problems yet, but we have to set them up for success. Negative 5 take away 2. Okay, we're going to set it up as an addition problem. So I've got negative 5 plus negative 2. I'm just sticking that plus sign right there. So there's my middle balance, negative 5, negative 2. Now, here's the interesting one. This is a special case right here that you'll see every once in a while for both of these. Double negatives in the middle. Okay. And I don't know, what was funny was I remember Mr. Lobby a couple years ago showed me this, and if you ever see Mr. Lobby around, ask him to do the Wacha thing, like W-A-C-H-A. It's hilarious, first of all, but it really kind of gets in your head what you're supposed to do with these two negatives. Basically what he does is, I can't even do it right, so I'm not going to do it, but you just ask him about this. But basically what it is, if you have two negatives right beside each other, it just becomes 1 plus. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this, and again, you don't need these parentheses in here, but you're going to see them a lot. 2 negatives, 1 big plus. Okay. Now we've got our addition problem, and box this off. I've got negative 5, positive 2. Same thing down here. I don't need these parentheses in here, but you'll see them a lot. 2 negatives. Big plus. Okay? It's almost like we're putting together those two negative signs, and I'm just flipping this around to make a plus sign. So now I've got positive 5, positive 2. Okay? Now, all these problems right now, we've changed them to addition, so they're all set up They're all ready to go for us to be successful. Two methods that we're going to talk about during this. One is going to be a plus-minus cancellation method. The other one's going to be a number line method. I'm going to ask you for at least today in all these example problems, and probably future problems until we start getting into bigger numbers. You're going to draw both of these diagrams for me. You're going to be tired of drawing these diagrams. I understand, but I really think that it helps because in the end you really understand what it means, and that's what I'm really going for here. Okay, so I'm going to start off by setting the problem up right. We have to make sure it's an addition problem. It is. There's my middle ground. Now I need to box off to see if I have positives or negatives. I have positive 8. I have positive 3. So all I'm going to do is, underneath each, I'm going to list either a positive or negative sign and how many I have. So here I'm going to go 8 positives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. I'm going to list my 3 positives over here because this is positive 3. Now my goal is just to look and see how many of each symbol do I have. I don't have any negatives, so I don't need to worry about that. I have 8, 9, 10, 11 positives, so my answer is obviously positive 11. Okay. We're going to talk about canceling out because if you have a positive and a negative, they'll cancel out. But for right now, all we had was positives in that problem. Okay. So answer is 11. Now, for using the number line method, we are going to start at the first number. Okay. So we're going to start at 8, which is right here. We are going to go this many in the positive direction. And when I mean positive direction would be to the right, negative direction would be to the left. Okay? So I'm going to go 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3. Wherever I end up at, that's my answer. So I ended up at positive 11. Again, this is pretty simple to start with, but I want to make sure you understand how these examples work because I'm going to be asking you to draw them for sure. Alright, next problem. Negative 10 plus 5. We want to make it an addition problem. It already is an addition problem, so we're in good shape. Now we just have to identify positives and negatives. This is a negative 10. This is a positive 5. Okay? So right underneath it, I'm going to list 10 negatives. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 negatives. This is a positive 5, so I'm going to list 5 pluses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if you know anything about a positive and a negative, if you put a positive 1 and a negative 1 together, that makes 0, or that cancels out. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to match up positives and negatives to cancel them out. Okay? So a couple of ways you could do this. You could just circle groups. So I could go like that, circle a positive and a negative group. And then all you have to do is, whatever does not cancel out, that's what you have left, and that's what your answer is. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 negatives. So my answer is negative 5. Now if I come down to the number line, I am starting at the first number. I'm starting at negative 10. Okay? So starting at negative 10 is right here. I am going to go 5 in whatever kind of number that is. It's positive 5. So I'm going to go 5 in the positive direction. So I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's my answer. Negative 5, just like what I got up here. Negative 6, nope, sorry. Positive 6 minus 11. Okay? Our first goal is to make it an addition problem, and that it is not. It is not an addition problem. So I am just going to slide a plus sign right after that first number. So our problem is actually going to be 6 plus negative 11. I've got my plus sign, which is my balance. Now I just need to box off to identify what's positive and what's negative. This 6 is positive because there's nothing in front of it. Positive 6 plus negative 11. I'm going to use the same process I did before. I've got 6 positives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 11 negatives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. All I'm going to do is, I could do those circles like I did before. I could also do this. If I erase one of these, I erase one of these. Erase one of these, erase one of these. Erase one of these, erase one of these. We're just finding matches. Because every match you make makes a 0. It cancels out. Positive and negative make nothing. So now all I'm left with is this. Here's my answer. Now how do I write that? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 negatives. So my answer is -5. If I come down to my number line, I want to start at the first number, which is +6, which is right here. I want to go 11 in the right direction. And what that means is it's -11, so I want to go this way. Negatives go to the left. Okay? So I need to go 11 to the left. So I'm going to start at 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. -5 is my answer. Alright, -2, take away -4. Got to make it an addition problem. Now, remember back to those first examples. Here's a special one if you've got two negatives right beside each other. Okay, and you don't need these parentheses, but they may put them in there just to separate out the two signs. Okay, we need to make this an addition problem. This is a special case. When we have two negatives, we need to make it a plus, a big plus. I'm just going to get rid of both, make it a big plus. Anytime you have these two minus signs beside each other, it just turns into a big plus. Okay? Now we've got an addition problem. So now I just need to box off to see what's positive and what's negative and solve the problem. -2, +4. Two negatives, 4 positives. I want to make my group of positive and negative in order to cancel it out and make a 0. Okay? Perfect? Perfect. Those two cancel out. I just have to look and see what I have left. I've got 2 positives, so my answer is +2. Coming down to the number line, I have -2 as my starter. The first number is your starting point. Okay, right here. I just need to go 4 in the correct direction. Remember, this way is negative, this way is positive. Okay, it's a +4, so I want to go in the positive direction. So I need to go -2, 4 in the positive direction. 1, 2, 3, 4. +2 is my answer.